If you're trying to decide between the NCL Haven and the Celebrity Retreat, this video is the one you've been looking for. We sailed both, same spring break, different sailings. And we went in with one mission: to give you an honest category by category comparison of two of the most talked about premium enclaves at sea right now, so you can stop guessing and start booking with confidence. 8 categories, 2 ships, 1 meaningful price difference, and a few findings that genuinely surprised us. Let's get into it.
Before you ever step foot on the ship, both products ask something of you: time, planning, and quite a bit of money. So let's talk about whether the pre-cruise investment pays off before the gangway even drops.
So we sent the exact same request to both pre-cruise concierge teams during dining reservations, room preferences, a few personal touches, both delivered on dining, which was great. We had confirmations waiting for us once we boarded, but this is where the details start to matter. Only Celebrity had our room customizations correct from the moment we stepped into the room. Now, NCL's room steward took care of everything quickly once we told them what we wanted, no problem at all. But we did have to have that conversation.
Both boarding experiences were generally excellent. Dedicated lounge, first on the ship, priority all the way. Yeah. If Embarkation is your benchmark, it's essentially a tie, and a very comfortable one at that.
Yeah, that's true. Here's where things diverge in a meaningful way, though. Once we boarded Norwegian Aqua, we were escorted directly to the Haven complex, and within minutes, we were seated with all the other people boarding at the same time of us. There was maybe 10 of us. But we got a full briefing on every benefit. They went over the entertainment schedule, exactly how and where priority access works. We felt like we knew the ship before we even found our room.
On Celebrity Xcel, once we boarded, we could drop our bags off and make our way to the retreat lounge or to Luminae for a snack. There was no formal orientation. There were papers left in the room for us to read. Now, some people will prefer that independence, but if you're new to either product, the Haven briefing generally is valuable.
Yeah. Both Butlers introduced themselves very quickly. Both were exceptional from day one. We'll get into the day-to-day service when we get to chapter 4, but I'll say this. Celebrity's Butler did more of the formal orientation himself.
Yeah,
he kind of went through everything with us, walked through the paperwork, previewed the week's events, because it was a long walk for us. He wanted to make sure we knew what was happening. And that was a small touch, but a thoughtful one.
Yeah. So the onboard experience overall, we're going to give the nod to Celebrity Retreat. They had the details right before we arrived, and the Butler orientation set a great tone. NCL recovered beautifully once on board, but Celebrity was a step ahead from the start.
This is true.
All right, you're going to spend a meaningful amount of time in the room. Morning coffee, afternoon downtime, getting ready for dinner. So the details matter more than the brochure suggests. So let's walk you through both.
Okay, so the Norwegian Aqua Haven penthouse, and I'm going to use the word sumptuous because it earns it. Dark tones, heavy fabrics, incredibly rich finishes. This is a room that feels like a luxury hotel suite, not a cruise ship cabin. At approximately 370 square feet, you have genuine room to breathe. The technology is impressive, though we'll admit we had to get a lesson
on
how to run the blinds. And the Nespresso machine is a wonderful touch we use every single morning. L'Occitane bath products, a rainfall shower, no tub, but one of the best, most comfortable beds we have slept in at sea. The vanity with Hollywood-style lighting, it's a nice feature. It's pretty, but it's difficult to use because of the glare. And power outlets everywhere.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Everywhere. And the patio has 2 comfortable chairs with great cushions. They're compact, but well done. Now, important caveat before we discuss the Celebrity side of things, we were in a Sunset Sky Suite, which carries a premium over a standard Sky Suite. In the interest of fair cost comparison, which we're going to do at the end of this video, we've removed that pricing uplift from our numbers. And we'll discuss the balcony, which was larger, but acknowledge that's partly a function of this room type. So take that into account when you're looking at that comparison. The suite itself is approximately 320 square feet, and the aesthetic is the polar opposite of Haven. It's light, it's airy, it's bright, beautiful. The bathroom is gorgeous. There's a large corner tub. We had a corner tub, but there's regular tubs in the Sky Suites, and a rainfall shower. Celebrity has a partnership for their bath products with Zenith and Adir, their own branded line, which was very nice.
Yeah, so there's still a couple problems with the room, not huge ones. But bed comfort is one. It's a very firm bed, and I like firm, but Leah likes soft. So we did compromise, and we got only 2 bed toppers, which did make it more comfortable. And there's still no power outlet on both sides of the bed, which has been a problem with Celebrity Sky Suite for quite a while. And I thought with the new ship, with the feedback they've been getting, they might have fixed that by now, but nope, still only 1 power outlet, so we had to use our 10-foot cable. And the last one is there's still no coffee maker in the room, which, is kind of a bummer. I'd like to get up and just hit a button and have my coffee brewing. So I know you can call your butler and arrange for coffee, but you have to know what time you're going to get up, and I don't always know what time I'm going to get up.
Yeah. So this one is genuinely close. If your ideal suite feels like a luxurious library, it's rich, it's incredibly comfortable, then you're probably going to be happier in Haven. If you want light, views, bright, spa-like bathroom with a tub, Retreat delivers on that. We're going to call this a tie overall, with NCL taking the nod on bed comfort and technology, but Celebrity taking the nod on bathroom options and linens. The outlet situation on Celebrity, though, bring the 10-foot cable.
Yeah. Both of these ships have dedicated exclusive restaurants for their Haven and Retreat guests. The question isn't whether the food is good. It is on both ships, and we mean that. The question is which dining experience fits the way you cruise.
Yeah. So we'll start with the Haven. The Haven restaurant sits right inside the Haven complex. It's convenient, it's private, it's reliably excellent. The food quality is high. Steak and lobster on the menu every single night.
I like it.
If that's what you want. Breakfast offers both a menu and a small self-service buffet that had like fruit and pastries on it and stuff. So if you could get in and get out very quickly if you needed to. And lunch is available every single day.
Yeah, that's nice.
Port or sea, it doesn't matter. So here's a detail that might matter to you though on a 7-night sailing. The menu doesn't change. What you see on night 1 is what you're going to see on night 7. For some of you, that's a feature. You found your favorites, you're happy. For others, that's a limitation. Luminae on the Celebrity Xcel is at the very front of the ship now, and those views earn it some points. All Retreat amenities are now close together in the same vicinity. They're not a complex like Haven, but it does at least create a cohesive feel. The menu is elevated, it changes daily. Breakfast is entirely made to order. It's a lovely way to start each morning. The food quality and creativity are exceptional. But here's the caveat, lunch is only available on sea days. So if you're in port, Luminae is closed. On a 7-day itinerary with 5 port days, that is a meaningful limitation.
Yeah, both restaurants had an exceptional service, and we really mean that. Yeah. They remembered our preferences by day 2. Dietary requests were handled without drama.
Yep.
The dining rooms are comfortable, well laid out. This is not a situation of which one is good and which one isn't. They're both generally excellent.
Great.
We're going to lead with some honest answers here. Both of these Sundecks are excellent, and we're going to tell you where they differ, and the differences do matter.
Yeah. So both Sundecks are 2 stories. They both have a bar with service. They both have creative, comfortable seating with plenty of shaded options, finally. Both had attendants coming around with frozen grapes and cold snacks and the little thoughtful touches that makes a sea day feel like a real retreat. On the fundamentals, the 2 are remarkably similar.
Yeah, the first difference we noticed was the Haven sits in the aft of the ship, which makes the wind a lot less noticeable. On the sea day, the Retreat, there's quite a bit of wind and you may find yourself moving around.
Yeah. But the more significant difference is this. Haven has an adults-only upper deck. That's where the 2 hot tubs are. The below deck is open to all ages, and that matters if you're sailing during school holidays. We were on both of these ships over spring break, and sea days were busy. Both Sundecks felt the squeeze, but Haven's adult-only upper level gave us a refuge.
Yeah, a nice thing the Haven has also is they have that sauna. And they have that ice room, which are great touches, and we did use it.
Yeah. So if you like spa facilities, having these steps away from your chair is a big deal. So we want to be transparent though. Spring break is not the most representative week to judge any premium enclave. Both were busier than they would be on a typical sailing. We noted it in both cases. Neither gets penalized for it, but you should factor in your sail date when you make that decision. We give the nod to NCL on the Sundeck. And it's not particularly close. The adults only upper deck combined with the sauna and the ice room creates this layered experience that Retreat Sundeck simply doesn't replicate. If your spa and adult only space matter to you, then That's a big deal when you make your decision.
Yes, it did get the nod.
Okay.
If you're paying for Haven or Retreat, your butler is a very important person on the ship. Let's talk about what that relationship actually looks like, because both of ours were excellent,
Yep.
but yet had some meaningful differences.
So on NCL, Walter was a pleasure. He was dependable, warm, always somewhere in the corridor when we need him, which if you've ever tried to hunt down a butler, you know is not always a given. Afternoon canapes arrived daily without us asking. When we ordered breakfast to the room, it was delivered on time and exactly right. But here's the detail you need to know. NCL has a policy that the butler cannot deliver drinks to your room, at least in a penthouse suite. Maybe it's different in the higher suites. Not a glass of wine, not a beer, nothing from the bar. Your in-room refrigerator is empty unless you personally walk to the bar, get something, and bring it back. This applies even with Free at Sea Plus package. In a premium enclave and at this price point, this policy is a meaningful constraint, and you should know about it before you book.
Yeah, now on Celebrity, Milos kind of set the standard that I'll be measuring all future butlers against. We ordered a glass of wine one afternoon, and lo and behold, the next morning we opened the refrigerator door and there was that exact same bottle of wine just sitting there cooling. We could reach him on WhatsApp whenever we needed any kind of food or drink request, and he was efficient, warm, and completely unencumbered by rules that got in his way. No limitations, no I'll need to check on that, just exceptional, intuitive service.
One thing both butlers did beautifully, they reminded us of upcoming Haven and Retreat events specific to our level. That's an underrated service. On a ship this large, it's easy to miss something that's actually worth attending. So now the concierge. So the Haven concierge desk was staffed from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, and they handled everything we asked, specialty dining arrangements. They even helped us plan a party when we reached 5,000 subscribers, which was
they made us a cake.
They made us a cake. It was a lot of fun. One quirk though, we called a couple of times and got a full voicemail. You had to physically walk down to the desk. It's not a hardship in the Haven, but it is worth knowing. For disembarkation and show priority, they were flawless. And meeting in the whiskey bar, which was much closer to the exit, was a great touch.
Yeah, the Retreat concierge team, all three members were there on the initial day to kind of handle the rush. Smart, but after that there was typically just one person in the lounge, and honestly it was usually a short line. We used them less as a result, not because they weren't capable, but because there's a little bit of friction, and we found out that if we just made a phone call, they were able to address whatever concerns we had. They did make us some reservations for a couple elite events, which was nice. Now they did, on disembarkation, we took a ship excursion, and we did have to go to the retreat lounge, and then they walked us all to the gangway, which was a bit of a longer walk, but not a big deal.
Yeah. Okay, so both butlers were exceptional. They're among the best we've encountered at sea, but Celebrity Retreat gets a little bit of a nod here, and the reason is simple, and that's because NCL's drink delivery policy creates a limitation that matters when you're paying Haven prices. Seriously. Milos was operating without a net, and that freedom showed. If personalized, intuitive butler service is your primary reason for booking a premium enclave, and it probably should be, Retreat's got a bit of an edge here.
The private lounge is where the enclave experience lives between activities. It's your living room, your bar, your quiet corner, and these two couldn't be more different in personality.
That's true. All right, so the Haven Lounge is anchored by a circular bar. It's beautiful. It's got 20 seats. It's surrounded by several comfortable living room areas in those signature darker tones. It's cushy, it's warm, it's inviting. But the real story here is the bartenders. They are entertainers. They learned our names and our preferences within a day or two. I asked for something specific that wasn't on the menu, and they made it for me, no problem. It was a vanilla sky, so not easy to find ingredients. So not just from the menu, but from wherever they could source the ingredients. These are people who love what they do, and it shows. During the day, the lounge is peaceful. There were guests reading, relaxing, a few people working. Power outlets were limited. I think we found one. There might be another. I don't know. The vibe is sophisticated retreat, and it earns that description.
Yeah, the retreat lounge is quite a different animal. Light, bright, ocean views on both sides. Generally beautiful. It feels less like a bar and more like a well-appointed living room.
Yeah.
That happens to be a bar. No bar stools. Servers come to you, and they do take care of you quite efficiently.
Yeah. So where Retreat clearly pulls ahead is the food program. So they have snacks throughout the day, including a proper afternoon tea service. So people genuinely lived in this lounge. Power outlets were plentiful. We saw quite a few guests working comfortably. But the cocktail program, well, this is where they fell down a little bit. I tried to order something fairly simple, a pisco sour. They couldn't make it. And I know there was pisco on the ship because I had some at the bazaar. So the service is excellent, but they're just not that creative cocktail kind of place. It's just a chill lounge.
Yeah. One more distinction, the retreat hosted special events in the lounge. They had an officers party, they had a silent disco. They were genuinely the highlights. Haven events were similar, but they invited all the suite guests, so they couldn't locate them in the Haven bar. But they were both nice and considerably larger and felt a little bit less exclusive.
Yeah, good point. So this chapter really depends on what you want from a lounge. If you want the best bar experience at sea, someone who will craft something just for you, and make you feel like a regular at your favorite restaurant, the Haven wins, and it's honestly not even close. But if you want beautiful views, all-day food program, a relaxed place to work or read, then Retreat takes that nod. So I kind of call it a tie with a strong personal recommendation based on your style.
Yeah, that Haven bar was way more fun.
I know, that's your favorite. He likes his cocktails. Okay, next chapter.
We always say the details separate the good from the exceptional. And in this chapter, we're going to walk you through what surprised us. Some were small and some were not quite as small as they look.
Yeah. So first up, technology. The Haven suite is genuinely impressive from a technology standpoint. There's controls, lighting, blinds, but the Norwegian Cruises app is way behind the times. The menu, show schedule, ship information, it just isn't at the level that you'd expect for a ship of this class.
Yeah, Celebrity Xcel's in-room technology is simpler, but the Celebrity app is substantially better.
Yeah.
We could see menus, check show schedules, manage reservations. You could even adjust the lighting and the temperature of the room right in the app. For how we cruise, that matters.
Now on to room service, both delivered, literally and figuratively. Retreat had a proper extended menu card in the room, and of course, Milos would bring us whatever we wanted. Haven's room service had a scannable QR code in the room, which is the same menu as the rest of the ship, or you can order from the Haven restaurant breakfast menu, or you could write in things on the card, and those requests were honored, but both butlers were excellent at food delivery.
Yeah, as far as the room steward, our Haven room steward was exceptional, personable, chatty, responsive, twice-a-day service, turned down, and she really seemed to enjoy being part of that Haven experience.
Our retreat steward was efficient and our room was always impeccable, twice a day as well, but he seemed really stretched thin. Actually, several of the room stewards down that hallway seemed stretched very thin. We didn't want to add to his burden, so we didn't ask a whole lot of him, and honestly, that's a notable contrast for a premium product.
On to the minibar. Celebrity customized our minibar to exactly what we wanted. Wine, beer, our preferences.
Yeah. We asked Haven for the same thing, and the answer was no. In the premium enclave world, that's just a gap worth noting. Quick word on laundry. So both included laundry as part of our status, not because it was a Haven retreat benefit specifically, to be clear, but the execution was different. Haven returned our laundry the next day. Celebrity Retreat took 48-hour turnaround, and maybe that's because we're Elite Plus, we're not Zenith. But on a 7-night sailing, 48 hours is a meaningful delay, so you have to plan your laundry time accordingly. So on the small stuff, Celebrity Retreat takes a little bit of a nod. The minibar customization, the better app, the more exclusive event program kind of tipped the balance, but Haven recovers ground with the laundry turnaround time and an exceptional room steward. But category by category, it's still way too close to call.
All right, so now on to our price breakdown. Now with that said, just a reminder, this was spring break week for both of these cruises, so the prices were a little bit higher than normal. But Leah's going to go ahead and walk through and break down a per person per day price for both products.
Okay, so let's dive in. So for the Haven, for 7 days in an HE penthouse, the booked fare was $10,507. I have tried to normalize as best I can to make these two experiences as comparable as possible. So I'm gonna walk you through that. This particular booking came with free at sea, which most of them do. So we paid those additional gratuities. That is all part of the $10,507. We added free at sea plus because that would be equivalent to Celebrity's premium Wi-Fi, premium drinks. We needed those two things, but it also came with some other benefits, including gratuities and Starbucks, which was really nice. So we added that in. And I'm going to share with you our credits that we received on both cruises, just to make sure they're all normalized for the things that we actually got in return. So cruise first certificate on this one. Our travel advisor had some credit. We did get the cruise privileges program with American Express applied, as well as we are shareholders, so we got some shareholder money on this one. That brought the cost down to $9,997 for a week-long cruise, which is $714 per person per day. Next, for Celebrity Retreat, we were in a Sunset Sky Suite. I'm going to walk you through how I made these equal, but let's start with the booked fare. So $9,725 for this cruise, and that included in the fare the premium beverage package and premium Wi-Fi, which we absolutely love that. Celebrity still got that in there. What's not in there anymore is the gratuity. So we had to have that charged every day, $23 per person per day, added to our fare. So then the credits that we received for Retreat, we also were able to apply the Amex Cruise Privileges Program, $300 there, our travel advisor, onboard credits, and then I have made a manual adjustment between the original quote that we received for a regular Sky Suite because we decided to take that upgrade. So I've deducted $1,097 for this so that it would be equal to a Haven penthouse.
Yeah, Sky Suite versus penthouse.
Okay, so that brings us to $8,275 for this cruise, or a total of $591 per person per day.
Yeah, so that makes the retreat about 20% less for a similar 7-day cruise, similar benefits, and a similar kind of holiday week.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so now let's move on to which one's right for you. Okay, the grand finale. So here's the thing about these two lines. The experiences are very close, and that's the honest story. There are two exceptional products on two pretty much brand new ships. Neither is the wrong answer. But to be fair, Retreat seems to be a better deal these days, so take that into consideration.
Haven on the Norwegian Aqua is for the traveler who wants to feel fully enclosed in luxury and doesn't want to leave to find it.
Yeah, but choose Celebrity Xcel Retreat if you want elevated design, a light, airy feel, a suite that wakes up bright, a bathroom with a tub, and a lounge with open ocean views on both sides. You want a butler with no constraints, someone who will put your preferred wine in the fridge because you mentioned it once, and who you can reach on WhatsApp between activities. You value a restaurant with a menu that surprises you each night. You want a better app, a snack program that runs all day in the lounge, and a mini bar stocked exactly the way you want it.
So let's make this practical. Let's talk about who belongs in each.
Okay, so choose NCL Aqua if you want a truly immersive ship within a ship experience. A dedicated complex, nearly everything you need is contained in one private world. You value the best private bar at sea, a butler who steps away all day, steak and lobster every night.
Nice.
And a sun deck with an adults-only space and a proper sauna and ice room. You love the idea of a warm, moody haven that genuinely feels separate from the rest of the ship. And you appreciate having lunch available every single day in a quiet restaurant, no matter where you are in the world that morning. I will also add that if you have kids with you, there is just naturally more adventurous things to do for kids on an NCL ship for sure.
Retreat on a Celebrity Xcel is for the traveler who values thoughtful personalization, a polished, well-curated experience where the details are handled elegantly, even if there isn't the same sense of enclosure.
And here's our final honest take. If you are brand new to premium cruise enclaves, Haven might be the easier choice for you. The orientation, the briefing, the self-contained complex, it's structured to deliver an experience. You don't have to seek it out.
If you've cruised at a premium level before and you know how to engage a great butler, ask for what you want, create your own daily rhythm, Retreat on Celebrity Xcel will reward you handsomely.
So we've now sailed both. We would sail both again, with kids on NCL and without on Celebrity. The question isn't which is better, it's which is better for you.
Yeah.
So if this video helps you figure that out, that's exactly what we set out to do. Drop a comment, tell us which you're booking, and we read every single one. If you haven't seen our Haven tips and tricks, we'll be here.
We also have a Celebrity tips and tricks for the retreat.
Both are linked in the description. Everything you need to know to get the most out of whatever you choose.
Safe travels, and we'll see you on the next one.